how to figure out your passion in life. As someone in the past who struggled, who didn't know my life direction for the longest time, being able to find my passion, more importantly, my purpose, has really changed my life. And I'm telling you, when you're able to tap into your purpose, it's a different level of energy. Your life is completely changed. So I plan to show you in this video that it's a lot simpler than you think it is. I have a 3-step process that you can go through right after this video that can help you start to find your passion and find your purpose. I will say it takes time, but within this framework, you're gonna be able to employ it and use it immediately. With that being said, I promise you by the end of this video, you will have a good framework to figure out your passion in life. My name is Richardson, I'm coach here at Life on Your Terms, and I make these videos to help pass on my expertise, pass on my knowledge, to help you learn these things quicker than I ever could. So the first step in the framework is to stabilize and visualize. Now, what do those terms mean? It means that look at your past or what you enjoy. So you're like, Chris, why would I look at my past? Why would I look at what I enjoy? The reason is because in the past, when have you been the most lit up? When have you been the most excited? I think that's a really good indicator of your passion, your purpose. But because I think a lot of us can fall in the trap of, oh, this career will make good money. Oh, this career has good benefits and will give me good status. Oh, this career is what my parents want me to do. This is what X, Y, or Z, they want me to do this, so I should do it. I think a lot of us can easily fall into that, the money trap or the parent trap. Parents try to get us to do this thing, or we want to make this money and we fall into that. But maybe that's not when we've been the most lit up. Maybe that's not when we've been the most excited. So I'd encourage you to really sit down and critically think, when in your life have you been the most excited and the most lit up? If you can look at that time, that can start to give you some indication. Now, another little exercise you can do is to ask yourself, what do you really enjoy? What do you really enjoy doing? Do you really enjoy fishing? Do you really enjoy hunting? Do you really enjoy lifting? What kind of things do you really like to do? Because there, you can use the 4 situations. Now, the 4 situations are, if I were to give you $100 million, what would you do that money? What would you buy? What would you be doing? If I were to give you $250,000 a year, but you just had to be doing a career that you love. You had to be doing something that you absolutely enjoy and you have to do that forever, but I'll pay you $250,000. If I told you that you have a 3-year expiration date and you're gonna drop dead in 3 years, what would you do with your time? And the 4th and final piece is, if you're at your 100th birthday, what are some of the legacy pieces you wanna be hearing? What would you wanna have people talking about? And when you critically think about these 4 situations, I would encourage you to write them out. So actually listen to those 4 situations again and write down, okay, this is what I would be doing in each of those situations. And then start to rank them. You can start to look at like, oh, you know what? I really like hunting. I'd be a game and parks person if they were to pay me $250,000 a year. Great. You have a direction. That's what's most important with this passion, this purpose stuff, is that I think a lot of people think that, yep, I'm gonna be a game and parks ranger at this park and I know that I'm gonna make this amount of money and that's my passion. I know I'm gonna love it. That's not how it works. You need a direction first. And for me, what helped me with the direction is, okay, I really enjoyed talking to people, but I didn't like numbers. So for me, it's like, okay, I shouldn't go into an analytical number-based field. I should go into a people field. And then I slowly worked from there. So for you, you look at your 4 situations, you're gonna get a direction. That's what's most important, because once you get a direction, you can understand, okay, I'm gonna start pursuing this. Because that brings us to our second stage. After you identified your 4 situations, identified what you enjoy, identified when you're the most lit up, you're gonna start to explore those things, and that's strategy. You're gonna look at, because passion won't just come to you. It's not just gonna, as I'm sitting here at my desk, I'm not just gonna be like, oh my gosh, this is what I wanna do. No, what's gonna happen, you have to get out and take action and explore those things. So, since it won't just come to you, you have to understand that you may not enjoy these things until you're good at it. For me, for example, I was like, yep, I want to work with people. I want to help people change their lives in a future-based, focus-based way. First coaching session I ever had, it didn't go great. I didn't feel like I didn't make that big of an impact. So I was like, is this really for me? I don't know. But then after a few more sessions, I started giving sessions out for free just so I could get better at my coaching skill. After doing that so many times, I'm like, yep, this is easy. Like, this is exactly what I want to do. After when I knew it was what I wanted to do, when I noticeably made an impact in someone's lives after a session, and I was doing it for free, but I loved it. I didn't look at the clock at all. I was just so zoned in on helping the person in front of me. I didn't care how much money I was getting paid. All I cared about was making that impact. And once I had that realization, I'm like, yep, this is the right field. So notice that it might not come to you right away. You might not be like, yeah, I'm gonna love this right away. You might not love it right away, and that's why you're gonna explore it. You're gonna develop that skill. Because after you started to explore it, you're gonna expose yourself to more and more things within your 4 situations. I'll again go back to the game and parks example. Maybe you're like, you know what? Yeah, I want to do something with hunting. I don't like numbers, and I don't really like people, but I like animals, and I like working with that in nature and stuff like that. Then you can start to get into that direction and explore those things within the 4 situations to make it more viable. Because it also has to be realistic. Like, you can't be an underwater basket weaver and make $100,000 a year unless you have a business with it and you sell courses on it, maybe. But other than that, you're not just gonna go weave baskets underwater and make 100 G's. Probably not. I mean, never say never, you can do it. But I was saying that it also has to be realistic. So you look at the 4 situations, you start to explore these things, and as you explore them, it'll become more realistic as you get into it. You'll be like, you know what, I could make money here, or I could start my own business, or there's jobs that people do this. You might be really surprised that after you start to explore your 4 situations, you're like, oh my gosh, there's this job that I never knew about, and I would make just a little bit less than what I make right now, but I would love doing it. So I'm gonna make that transition. And so once you explore these 4 situations, you can then start to seek others doing it, people that are ahead of you. So again, I'm gonna rely on that game and parks example. So you're like, okay, I wanna work with nature. I'm gonna go talk to people working in nature. So what you wanna do is you'd wanna find a company that you maybe would like working for, and then try to find some contacts within that are doing what you would wanna do. And you simply ask them the question, hey, I'm considering making a change into this, or this is what I think kind of where my passion lies. Would you mind getting on the phone for 30 minutes so I can just ask you questions about what your day looks like and what you love most about the job? Most people will love doing that. And I have done that multiple times just for proof of concept. I reached out to the IBM guy who was doing speech recognition in 1999. So big stuff, he was super high up in IBM. And I literally just sent that. I said, as a young entrepreneur, do you think you give me 30 minutes of your time just so I can ask you questions? And he gave me great answers and great information, and he was really happy to do it. So a lot of people, don't hesitate to reach out, because a lot of people will be happy to share their story because they care about you, because you're going into that industry, and most people want to help people go into that industry and tell their story. So don't hesitate to do that. And the point is to once you've explored the 4 situations, you start to actually look at these things, you can then seek others doing it, get on the phone with them, and maybe you find you're like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. Like, they tell you their day to day and you're like, this is a dream come true for me if I could do this every day. The third and the final piece with this is evaluation or execution. You want to truly evaluate, okay, is this situation realistic? And would I really like it? Now, I would encourage you to not limit yourself by realistic. Obviously, you have to make money, but there's a lot of ways to make money, so don't limit yourself by that. It's just something, just like a check mark box. Just make sure it is viable and you can live off. And then finally, the most important piece is just to execute. Did you enjoy what you tried? So when you called people, when you were doing research, when you were looking into this and exposing yourself to this, did you enjoy it? Because if you enjoyed it, just start repeating it. Because I promise you, if you already enjoyed it when you first exposed yourself to it, I guarantee you'll enjoy it that much more when you get better and better at it. It's like these YouTube videos. My first YouTube video, if I were to look back on it, it's nowhere near the skill that I have now of it. And I don't say that to brag or anything, but now that I've made about 115 YouTube videos, I'm able to look back and be like, you know what, I liked it then. I even like it more now, because I feel like I'm a better educator throughout it. So if you ask yourself, did you like it? Just start rinse and repeating and get that skill better and better, because you're gonna like it more and more. I'd encourage you to also, when you're executing, bring a degree of patience with you, because you know what? You may think you love it, you get into it and you don't like it, but it's the right thing for you. It's like my coaching story earlier where I said, you know what, I got into it, I thought it wasn't right for me, but I just gave myself a little patience and I realized that I loved it. Because the frame of mind you want to come in with is the work is the goal. That's from Alex Hormozy. And the way I see it is that if it's not outcome based, you want to be like, I'm going to be the best game and parks ranger because I do X, Y, and Z. No, you want to think of it, the work is the goal, is that you're going to work on your skill of being a game and parks ranger and the work that goes into that to be the best that you can, because the work is the goal. Carry that mindset with you. And on top of patience and that mindset you need to carry with you within execution is to literally just execute and make it a reality. Because there's a chance in the past that you were sitting on this decision, you're like, you know what, I don't think I like where I'm at, and you've probably thought about this multiple times, and it's time to make a change. It's time to execute and make it a reality. And that's where I encourage you to take the balance wheel in the description below, because that'll truly show you where you're at in your life, how you see it. Because it'll show your professional, your relationships, your health, and your resources. And when you look at all those things, you're gonna get a big pie of your life. Maybe that pie is really big and you're happy where you're at, or maybe that pie is smaller than you thought. And that you need to work on those things to find your passion, find your purpose. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And if you'll leave a comment telling me what you liked about this video, I know to make more of these. I'll see you guys in the next one.